Hey guys, Sleepy here. Welcome to a brand new episode of my weekly gaming playlist series. We've made it to another Friday, so we're going to chat and talk about the games that I played this week. Would love to hear your thoughts. So if you played any of the games I shared with you today, let me know what you thought of them. I always enjoy hearing about games you guys are playing, because that gives me ideas of games that I might want to play. And if you guys have recommendations on a game you think I might enjoy playing, let me know. Always looking for new games to play and experience. Got one game to share with you guys, and this is the same one that I was playing last week. Had a lot of fun with this game. I still don't own it physically. I actually just bought it from Gamefly, so it's going to be here sometime next week. So I'll have to use the laptop again to show you guys a picture of it. But that is Mafia: The Old Country. Now, I really have enjoyed this game. I'm a huge fan of the Mafia series. I've talked about how I beat the original Mafia on the original Xbox, and then I beat the Definitive Edition on my Xbox One X. I also played Mafia 2 on my Xbox 360 and beat it there. I then beat it again on my Xbox Series X through backwards compatibility. I really enjoyed it. I've been playing Mafia 3 off and on for the last couple years. I got quite far in the game. I still have so much more to do with that. So I was really excited when I heard that they were releasing a new Mafia game in the series. And a lot of us I know were hoping for a Mafia 4, but they decided to release a prequel to their trilogy. This game takes place in the early 1900s. It's from like 1904 to like 1907 or 08. So there's just a few years there, time span, but it takes place in Sicily. And it deals with the early days of the Mafia. And it is really awesome. It does have some connections with America, because it talks about Empire Bay, which the original Mafia and Mafia 2 take place in that city. So it's really cool. They have some little ties to it. But I've been having a lot of fun. Now, you play as a new character called Enzo Ferrara. And he ends up joining the Teresi family. And they're at a war with the Spadaro family, and you end up getting tangled in with that. The story really deals with you. You're a real young guy, you're 18, 19 years old, thrust into the world of the Mafia, and you end up falling in love with Don Teresi's daughter. And so you guys can kind of see where the story is going to kind of go with that, as far as being in love with a Don's daughter and what consequences that might bring about. And as you play through the game, the story progresses through, and you see what happens to Enzo's life as he gets deeper and deeper into the mob life and what happens to him. So let's check out some gameplay of Mafia: The Old Country. Hey guys, we're back with more Mafia: The Old Country. Now, this has been a really fantastic game. I'm a huge fan of the Mafia series. I played Mafia 1, played Mafia 2 and 3. I beat the original Mafia 1 on the original Xbox. I beat the Definitive Edition on my Xbox One X. I beat Mafia 2 and its DLC. And I've got about halfway through Mafia 3. And so I was really excited to finally get a chance to play this Mafia: The Old Country, because it's a prequel to the Mafia trilogy. It takes place in the early 1900s, starts in 1904. And you play as this character, Enzo. And you end up joining the Mafia, and so you guys get to kind of see the origins of the Mafia and how different the Mafia is here in Sicily than it is compared to Mafia in America. So let's get started. Now, after you play a few chapters in the game, you'll actually unlock this chapter replay option, which you can go through and load any of the 14 different chapters, and you got the prologue and stuff. But you also unlock this explore mode, which you can use to explore the map freely. So we'll check that out real quick, and then we'll jump into the mission I'm at, so you guys can see some stealth and gun combat. Now, you also have different outfits you can get for Enzo, so you can change his appearance. And some of these unlock as you play through the story missions. Some you can't wear during the story missions, but you can wear freely in the exploration mode unless you turn that option on. So different outfits for you to wear. Different hats and things you can wear if you want to. Hairstyles, that kind of thing. You can adjust your face, your shaving, that kind of stuff. So there's a few customization options there. You also have a variety of weapons too. You have your knife. that you keep on you, which is important for knife fights, but it also comes with the ability for breaking open locks, lock boxes, using them as throwing weapons. But every time you use the knife as an action, it degrades it, and you have a durability meter. Like, this is a knife you start off with, you only get 2, but you can get some other ones that have 4, like 6 uses. So the higher the durability is, the better that knife is to have in the game, because you may be opening multiple things. Now, in order to sharpen it, when it's completely dull, you have to find these whetstones, which are spread throughout the game world, but they're not like an infinite supply of them. So you want to make sure that you have the right knife equipped for your missions. There's also some handguns and like some shotguns you can use, and there's a variety of rifles and shotguns. And you unlock more as you play through the story, but you also can buy them with in-game money, because there is in-game currency, which you get from killing enemies. You'll find it around the world. You'll also get it for completing missions as well. So definitely important to get as much money as you can that you can use to level up Enzo and get better weapons and stuff. So just wanted to show you guys the 2 modes of transportation. There's horses and there's also vehicles. And you get different horses unlocked by playing through the story, but you also can buy them as well. So here's, I have 2 currently unlocked, but there's other ones you can get. And then there's different accessories you can buy for them. It's all visual stuff if you want to get it. But, so there is cool. Starting out with getting around on horseback, which is nice.
Come on!
They do have this little spur icon you can use to go quicker, but it does have a cooldown meter. And you can get better horses for getting around that have more of the spur abilities, and also have a higher stamina. You know, just like with vehicle, you know, there's better horses around that you can get compared to other horses as well. And then, well, let's go back real quick, and then I'll show you guys some of the cars that are available in the game. There we go. So as you play through the game, you unlock new ones. You also you can change different colors as well. That's pretty neat, so customizing. This vehicle right here, I actually got free simply for linking my 2K account to my copy of Mafia: The Old Country. And this one is the best car in the game. You can see everything is maxed out: acceleration, braking, and grip. But another thing that's pretty cool too is I actually unlocked Tommy's Taxi from Mafia 1. And I got this because I played the Mafia 1 Definitive Edition, so I got this unlocked. But if you play Mafia 2 Definitive Edition and Mafia 3 Definitive Edition, it also adds extra content to this game, which is pretty neat. So I'll show you guys this vehicle here. Now every car has obviously different handling. This one handles the best, is the quickest, and the best car in the game, and my absolute favorite one that I've driven so far. But other ones, you know, you'll get during the missions, they can be a lot slower. They're not as quick to handle and turn, so obviously you have to adjust handling those cars, because they don't handle like a champ like this car does. But they're a great way to get around. And there's also some chase fights into where you're chasing and shooting people on horseback, and there's some battles where you're shooting people while driving a car, and you go over different jumps, and you gotta watch out. It's just really cool. There's also some missions with horse racing and car racing and stuff. Just overall, really cool having some old transportations and stuff for you to get around. It's got a decent-sized map here. You know, not the biggest you're going to get in the world, but it's still pretty detailed. In this free exploration mode, you can travel around and fast travel with these different icons. And then there are collectibles in the world for you to collect. There are photographs, you've got newspapers, there's mystery foxes, there's charms. And there's also these collectible coins which you can use to turn in for in-game currency. Now what I like is the game will actually put icons of where the collectibles are and whether you collected them or not. And I would recommend saving the exploration mode until later on in the game, maybe until after you beat it. Because as you play the game, more items will be added to the map. So it's like, see down here, there's nothing added. maybe when you go through later in the story, they might actually put some more icons on there, because I've been down in this area when I played earlier in the game, and some of these things weren't here at that time. So it does populate as you play through the game. So let me pause it here, guys, and then we'll jump into some of the stealth and gun combat. Alright, now we'll show you guys some of the combat. One thing, too, quickly I'm going to mention was that there are these charms for you to have, and these are how you augment Enzo. Like, I have this Lincoln's charm here, which makes me quicker when it comes to strangling enemies when you're doing stealth, and I got that from playing Mafia 3, so that was a pretty cool one. But there's also these other charms that all have different things that they do for you. Like, this grants greater speed when sharpening your blade. There's different ones that augment you, give you different boosts. Like, this allows you to carry more shotgun ammo. So you can choose these 5 different charms total of which ones you want. And some are unlocked as you play through the game. Some you find in the world. And there's other ones you actually have to buy with the in-game currency. So I just wanted to talk about the charms, though, because that's how you augment Enzo's character. So we're going to try to do some stealth here. So Enzo does have this little vision mode. There was some complaints from gamers I read, complaining about why he has this vision mode. But remember, at the end of the day, this is still a video game, so there are going to be some video game elements to it.
What's taking them so long? Come on, come on. Why is it always me stuck outside alone?
So this is one of these missions where if I wanted to, I could just come in here, go guns blazing, get into gun battles and fight other people. But you also have the stealth option, which I like doing, because you can sneak in and kill enemies undetected. Because sometimes, the area might only have like 3 or 4 enemies. You go in guns blazing, all of a sudden, like another 6 or 7 guys spawn and pop in there. And now you got a bigger fight on your hands. So sometimes it pays to go the stealth route. You can sneak up guys, and then you just have to choke them out. And one thing I did want to give you guys as a tip is make sure that you search dead bodies, because they always will have money on them, but sometimes they'll have ammo. They might even have bandages, because you do have a health bar there. I have 5 bars. If a bar gets completely depleted, you lose it. If it doesn't get completely depleted and you're in cover or you're away from taking damage, you will actually regenerate that health bar. So it does some regenerative health, but again, if you take too much damage, you'll have to use your bandages, which I currently only have 2 of. Now, what's cool is the game will conveniently have these little boxes placed around the map for you to stick dead bodies in, so that the enemies don't find them. Because if they find a body, they'll be alerted and try to track you down. So you definitely want to make sure you take the time to hide the bodies. So this is where I got to use my knife. See, I broke the lock on it. So now that used 1 durability point. And so whenever you guys are not directly look at him, you'll see a white arrow. That'll point to wherever an enemy is in his vision. So you may see multiple arrows and stuff, and that will show you like where the enemies are at. And so use that to your advantage. Sometimes you got to sneak around, use cover, wait for guys to move. There's also a cool option where you do get some coins, and you can actually use them to distract somebody. There's also bottles and stuff you can find. And sometimes you might need to do that to get him away from the visual sight of a different enemy.
Free money.
Then you just want to sneak up on him real quick and kill him. Now, if I'm in an area like this where I'm worried about enemies maybe seeing him, I'll pick him up and I'll carry him to another area, drop their body, loot them, and then put them away in one of those boxes. But I never leave bodies lay around. I always take the time to put them away, just so I don't have that chance that some enemy happens to find it and then all that work you did is gone, which that would, just piss you off that you did all this work for like 10 minutes only to have to do it all over again. So we'll just quickly check his body, and then we'll get rid of it. So. Alright guys, we'll pause it again, and then when I get into actual gun combat, because usually these missions always have a forced part where you're gonna have to use combat to like escape a situation or something, we'll resume there so you guys can see what the gun combat is like. Alright, now I'll show you guys some of the gun combat. Definitely want to be careful, use cover, and not just stick out in the middle of shots, because you have multiple guys shooting at you, and you do take a lot of damage quickly, so be careful. You want to use Enzo's vision and stuff in these battles to see where enemies are, and just be aware of your surroundings, so that you don't die.
The whole place is coming down.
And I always like to loot bodies when I can.
Out of here, Caruso. Boss wants you dead. You're mine.
And you do want to wait too when you're aiming for the crosshairs to show up on the enemy. If you just shoot as soon as the crosshair appears, you will miss your shot. And you obviously want to try to go for headshots in vital areas, because if you hit him in a different area, it might take multiple shots to take him down. And you can use your weapon wheel and change weapons. Got him. So just wanted to give you guys a little taste of what the combat is like with guns and the stealth and stuff. And just overall, it's a really fun game that I've been having a real enjoyment playing. But definitely you guys should check out Mafia: The Old Country. It's a wonderful game, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that look at Mafia: The Old Country. Now, I did beat this game this week. It took me around 20 hours to beat it. I did play a little bit longer than that. That's because I went through the exploration mode. Now, one of the biggest gripes I've saw online from people were they were complaining that it wasn't open world. You know, Mafia 3 is one of those open world Grand Theft Auto style games where it's got a huge city, there's all kinds of DLC for it, you can go through main story missions, you can do side missions stuff. Now, this is not one of those games. This is like the traditional Mafia, like Mafia 1 and 2, where it's very story focused. There is no New Game Plus mode. I know some people were also disappointed about that. They wanted to replay the story with a New Game Plus mode and have new content and stuff. Unfortunately, they do not have that for this game. This really is about playing through the story. And it'll take you anywhere from like 15 to 20 hours depending on the difficulty you play as. There's the easy, normal, and hard. Now, I played it on normal, and I found that it was a very satisfying challenge. It was difficult, but not too hard, and it was not too easy at the same time. The game really does ramp up in difficulty towards the end. Those final few missions can get really difficult, which I'm glad that it ramped up at the end and not at the beginning. I do have to agree with some people, though, with their assessment of the story. Is some people were kind of disappointed in the story because it was kind of predictable, and I kind of figured out the story myself while playing the game. I kind of like had in my head like, yeah, I bet this is how it's going to end, and the story ended the way I thought it was going to end. So that was one thing that was kind of disappointing, but it still was a really good game. So if you guys like Mafia, I highly recommend checking out Mafia, the Old Country. You can get it on the Xbox, you get it on PlayStation, the PC, so there's a variety of ways to play it. And it's definitely worth going through and playing through the story to experience, because that's what this is. This is a story game, you know. It's not another Grand Theft Auto type of clone or anything where there's hundreds of different missions to go through and side stuff and tons of collectibles and stuff out there, because there are some collectibles, but that's not what this game's focus is. The main focus is playing through and enjoying a good story, which we did get. So I really have enjoyed it. Recommend it to you guys. Now, if you do miss anything during the chapters, because the game is broke up, you have your prologue and then there's 14 other chapters to go through, you can get chapter replay, which you can then go back and replay the chapters to unlock anything you missed. Also, there's a lot of collectibles that you can get in this exploration mode that they put in the game, because there's not a whole lot of exploring during missions. Like if you go out of bounds of a certain mission, it'll say you have 13 seconds to return or you'll fail the mission. So if you really want to explore the map, you have to go to the exploration mode, and that's where you can freely run around, use horses, your cars and stuff, and go and mop up all the collectibles and just explore the world. But remember, this game is meant to be played for its story, so it does have a heavy story focus. But if that sounds something interesting to you guys, I would recommend check out Mafia the Old Country. I loved it. Like I said, it took me about 20 hours to beat, and I really did enjoy the story, and I do plan to play it again in the future because I enjoyed it that much. But let me know your guys' thoughts. Have you guys played Mafia the Old Country? What were your thoughts on it? Would love to hear about the games you guys have been playing lately, and if you have a recommendation on a game you think I might enjoy playing, let me know. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.